Picture this. It's the year 1900. Off the coast of a tiny Greek island called Antikythera, a group of sponge divers from the island of Simi make the discovery of a lifetime. They'd taken shelter from a violent storm and, while waiting for the seas to calm, decided to do a little exploring. What they found was a 2,000-year-old Roman shipwreck, a treasure trove from the ancient world filled with priceless statues and artifacts. But tucked away amongst the marble and bronze, they found something else. Something that made no sense at all. It was a lump of corroded bronze and wood, about the size of a big dictionary. It was so unassuming that for 2 years, it just sat there, unnoticed, in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, while the staff worked on piecing together the more obvious treasures. Then, one day, it cracked open on a museum shelf, revealing something that just shouldn't have been there. Inside weren't jewels or gold, but a complex system of precision gears. It looked like the guts of a modern clock, yet it was 2 millennia old. This was an object that had no business existing. It was like finding a laptop in an Egyptian pyramid. This was an analog computer from a time before anyone even knew what a computer was. For a century, it remained an undecipherable puzzle, a ghost of lost technology. But now, after decades of painstaking investigation, we can finally tell the story of the Antikythera mechanism. After its initial discovery, the corroded lump was a complete mystery. In 1902, a politician named Spyridon Stais was visiting the museum and was the first to spot a gear wheel embedded in one of the fragments. This prompted his cousin, the archaeologist Valerio Stais, to take a closer look, and he rightly guessed it might be some kind of astronomical clock, but his idea was pretty much laughed off by other scholars. The thinking at the time was that a geared device this complex was simply too advanced for the ancient Greeks. It just seemed too sophisticated for its time. So, for decades, the mechanism was treated as a weird little curiosity, its true purpose shrouded in mystery. It wasn't until the 1950 seconds that the investigation really kicked off, thanks to a British science historian from Yale named Derek de Sola Price. He poured years of his life into studying the fragments, because he understood this was no simple trinket. He suspected it was a calculating machine of profound importance. In 1971, he and a Greek nuclear physicist took the first X-ray and gamma-ray images of the 82 surviving fragments. What he found confirmed his wildest suspicions. The images revealed a stunningly complex system of interlocking gears, at least 30 of them. He realized the gear trains were designed to mimic the movements of the heavens. Price published his groundbreaking findings in 1974, proposing a model of the mechanism that he believed included a differential gear, a component so advanced it was thought to have been invented 1,000 years later. He called it an ancient Greek computer. But even with his brilliant analysis, the full picture was still blurry. The fragments were too corroded, too damaged. Key pieces were missing, and the faint inscriptions covering its surface were almost entirely unreadable. The world had a glimpse of its genius, but the machine's deepest secrets remained locked away in bronze. How did it really work? What exactly did it predict? And who on earth could have built it? The answers would have to wait for a new generation of researchers, armed with technology Price could only have dreamed of. The new millennium brought new hope. In 2005, an international team called the Antikythera Mechanism Research Project was formed. They brought a new weapon to the fight, cutting-edge imaging technology. Led by researchers like Mike Edmonds and Tony Freeth, they used high-resolution surface imaging and advanced X-ray CT scanning to peer inside the fragments with unbelievable clarity. For the first time, they could digitally reconstruct the gear system, See how every tiny, hand-cut tooth meshed with the next, and most importantly, read the nearly invisible text etched into its surfaces. These scans revealed thousands of tiny Greek letters, forming what was basically an owner's manual. The inscriptions described the cosmos as the Greeks understood it, laying out the functions of the dials and explaining what the mechanism was built to do. This was the breakthrough everyone had been waiting for. The laptop from a pyramid was finally booting up. The investigation took off. Michael Wright, a former curator at London's Science Museum, had already built a working model in the 90 seconds, arguing that the device used epicyclic or planetary gears to model the strange retrograde motions of the planets. The new scans and inscriptions showed he was on the right track. The text revealed numbers connected to the cycles of Venus and Saturn. Researchers could see pin and slot mechanisms designed to model the moon's irregular orbit, a subtle variation studied by the Greek astronomer Hipparchus in the 2nd century BCE. While the full planetary gearing system is still debated by experts, with teams at University College London proposing the most complete model to date, the core principles were becoming clear. This wasn't just a simple calendar, this was a complete mechanical model of the cosmos. And as more of the text was decoded, the full, breathtaking scope of its capabilities came into focus. So, what was the truth? What did the Antikythera mechanism actually do? It was the world's first analog computer, a mechanical calculator designed to predict the future. By turning a single hand crank, now lost to time, you could move the entire cosmos forward or backward. On the front, a large dial showed the position of the sun and the moon against the constellations of the zodiac. A special pointer for the moon even had a half-silvered ball that rotated to show its phases. Inscriptions suggest there were also pointers for the 5 planets known to the ancient Greeks: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Recent research has also shown how the zodiac dial was cleverly designed to account for the sun's variable speed as it moves through the constellations, a feature of stunning astronomical precision. But the back of the device was where the real secrets were. Here, 2 large spiral dials dominated the display. The upper dial was for the Metonic calendar, a 19-year cycle of 235 lunar months that the Greeks used to keep their lunar calendar in sync with the solar year. This dial made sure that religious festivals and farming activities didn't drift out of alignment with the seasons. The lower dial was the Saros dial, and it was an eclipse predictor. This tracked an 18-year cycle that could be used to anticipate when a solar or lunar eclipse was likely to happen. Inscriptions on the dial even gave clues about the character of the predicted eclipse, like its time of day. It was an early warning system for some of the most dramatic events in the ancient sky. And nestled within these larger dials was something even more surprising. Researchers found a smaller, 4-year dial. Inscriptions on it read Nemea, Isthmia, Pythia, and Olympia. The mechanism didn't just track the heavens. It tracked the cycle of the great Panhellenic Games, including the most famous of all, the Olympics. It was a direct link between the order of the cosmos and the most important cultural events in the Greek world. This single device represents a level of engineering and astronomical knowledge that wouldn't be seen again for over 1,000 years. Its existence completely rewrites our understanding of what the ancient world was capable of. If you find this story of lost genius as fascinating as we do, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon, because we have more incredible stories from history coming your way. And let us know in the comments, what other ancient mysteries do you want us to investigate? The Antikythera mechanism is a miracle. It's a hand-powered, bronze-geared computer built to model the universe. Its interlocking wheels, some with teeth counts based on prime numbers like 223, to accurately model astronomical cycles, formed a complex calculating machine that translated sophisticated theories into mechanical motion. It used clever techniques like epicyclic gearing to model planetary motion, and a pin and slot system for the moon's orbital anomalies. Innovations that wouldn't reappear until the great astronomical clocks of medieval Europe, more than 1,400 years later. The device is most often dated to the 2nd century BCE, and many researchers believe its design is linked to the great astronomer Hipparchus, who worked on the island of Rhodes. The lunar theory built into its gears is a very strong match for his work, although the connection isn't definitively proven. But its existence raises the biggest question of all. Why was this technology lost? How could a civilization that created a mechanical computer forget how to do it? We have a few fleeting references from writers like Cicero who mention similar devices, but no other machine this complex has ever been found from antiquity. Maybe the knowledge was a closely guarded secret, held by only a few master craftsmen. Maybe the bronze was too precious, and other devices were simply melted down over the centuries. Or maybe the collapse of the Roman world just broke the chain of knowledge, letting this incredible tradition fade into memory. We may never know for sure, but the Antikythera mechanism proves that our path of technological progress isn't always a straight line. It shows that genius can be lost, and that the minds of the ancient world were every bit as brilliant and capable of understanding the universe as our own. For 2,000 years, the truth was hidden in a shipwreck, a silent testament to a forgotten age of genius. Today, it stands as a humbling reminder of how much we still have to learn about our own past.